some people make music as entertainment, some people make music as art, and sometimes it blurs the line. And I think to be really effective, you have to kind of do both. Really, really artsy stuff is going to be sometimes inaccessible, and then stuff that's just entertainment is sometimes disposable. So finding like the balance between those two, I think, is important. I'm obviously writing it from my perspective, or things that I've experienced, or things that I know about, but I'm also very aware of, is this something that people are going to relate to? Regular people are going to be able to understand this, and writing about situations that maybe everybody goes through, or that even if you haven't been through them, you know someone that has. So I try to make my music as accessible as possible. And I think if you're too personal, or if it's just all about like one specific situation that you've been through, or you're just trying to get across a certain agenda, that you don't connect with as many people. And I've always been about writing music that connects with as many people as I can. Something that's come up a lot recently in different conversations I've had with different people, is like this whole thing about like overnight success or blowing up overnight. And that's, it's never how it happens. Everyone that, you see somebody, they blew up overnight, you don't see the 10, 12, 14 years they put in behind the scenes, that you never saw, where they were just trying to get their name out there, or trying to get someone to listen to them. Nobody blows up overnight, but then when it happens, it always seems like, where'd this guy come from? If something would happen tomorrow and I had a #1 song on the radio, everyone would say, "Oh, he blew up overnight." But I've been working at this for 12 years now, so 10 years, about 4 years seriously. But I guess that's the biggest misconception, is people think they're gonna they're gonna get Logic or Pro Tools or Reason, and they're gonna make a beat, and then they're gonna write a song, and then they're gonna record it, and then they're gonna put out an album, and then they're gonna be famous. And it's like a lot of shit that goes on in between that and that. I think that's the biggest misconception. There's a lot of work that goes into this, and if you're dedicated, you stick with it. It's a filtering system. Harvest of Hope is a non-profit organization here in Gainesville that they provide assistance to migrant farm workers. So the guys that pick your crops, that you eat every day, that are out in the fields breaking their back, working these jobs that nobody wants to take, for very little pay. And this organization, what they do is they help them out. Somebody can't work, or their car breaks down, they'll help them fix their car. They break their leg or something, they'll help them with their medical bills. Their kid, needs to go to school and can't go to school, they'll help them with tuition and stuff like that. So it's an awesome organization, and they have gotten involved, being in Gainesville, and Gainesville's a big music town. What they're starting to do, or what they have been doing the last couple of years to raise money, is they're doing benefit concerts. They found musicians that like the cause and think it's a good cause, and so they'll have these concerts where the funds go to the Harvest of Hope. So that's one of the ways they do their raising funds. And so I've done a bunch of shows with them. I think I've done probably 4 or 5 shows with them, and I love to do them. I love to do benefit shows, and it's a great organization and a great cause. So yeah, they're great guys, and Ed and Phil Kellerman, the guys who run the organization, the foundation, are awesome guys. And anytime they have good shows, they call me up, and I'm more than happy to play.
When did you start doing music?
I started playing piano at like 6, and just been playing ever since. And started doing the hip hop thing maybe 10, 11 years ago, 12 years ago, something like that.
Who introduced you to recording?
I actually started recording myself. I had a band back in middle school, and we bought a little 4-track recorder and taught ourselves how to use that, and didn't know what we were doing, wrote horrible songs.
What kind of music?
It was a punk band, And
What'd you call yourself?
we were called Misdemeanor, and or Downstairs. And then there was a band called Downstairs after that. We recorded ourselves too, but that 4-track actually was the beginning of my getting into recording and stuff like that. And, learned how to use it myself, and then kind of went from there. Hometown shows are always a lot of fun because you see a lot of people you know, and everybody there knows your words. You know, you go out on the road and you're playing, even if you're playing to 500 kids, there's a good chance a lot of them don't know you. It's your first time playing that city or whatever. So that's a different kind of show. I'd rather play to 100 people that everybody knows my words than play to 500 people and it's like it's a little bit harder to do. So I think the Atlantic in Gainesville is probably one of those spots. It's if it's 150, 200 people, and I can play there and pack it out, and it's a bunch of people that have listened to my music for years, and it's a lot of fun.
Do you have a particular club or venue in Gainesville that you might consider your home?
Yeah, I'd say probably the Atlantic. Yeah, I did actually the photo shoot for Bartide Blues was at the Atlantic, and I did a video there. But that's probably the place I feel most comfortable.
I played my first show there when it was full circle.
Back in the day.
Way back in the day.
Gainesville's an awesome city. It's got a great music scene. Everybody seems very supportive of each other as far as the different bands. And if you get involved in the music scene in Gainesville, any small town like that, I think Austin's really good. A lot of small college towns are like that. But you have a really close-knit music community, and if you kind of inject yourself into that, it can be really beneficial for you. People that love to go see music love to go see good music regardless of what type it is. And as far as moving to a bigger city, I thought about, should I move to Atlanta, should I move to Miami, should I move to New York? Yeah, there's more opportunities, but there's also a lot more competition, and everyone's a rapper. At some point you start to realize that it's an industry just like any other industry. I mean, if you want to get into the electronics business industry, you have to learn the ins and outs of it. Maybe you love electronics, you want to open an electronics store, and that's great. You can have love for it, but you have to understand the business that you're getting into. Who's your competition? How do you set up a store? What's your target market, et cetera, et cetera. And music is no different. And anyone that thinks, because it's artsy and it's from my soul, and people are just gonna love it because it's from my soul, and don't get involved in the industry side of it or the business side of it, are missing out on the fact that if you really want to do this as a career, which I do, then you have to understand that you're getting involved in the music business, you're getting involved in the music industry. So how do you fit into that? And you learn as much as you can, and you try to navigate the best you can, and get to a point where you're happy.